Yeah, I go all the way back to opening weekend, and just man, we're so excited and heading into the season and believe in Drew so much, and just didn't look comfortable. And then just back to the workshop. A couple of weeks, get back some relief appearances, get an opportunity to start. Now that we've started conference play, how important is somebody to log meaningful innings in the midweek? Did that last week in Montgomery for us, got us off to a good start, and then did better tonight and absolutely finished a ball game. I think that's our first complete game. I don't care if it's 7, 8, 9 innings, whatever. Retired 15 hitters in a row after a little traffic. So I'm not glad that they scored, but I'm glad of the response when they hit a double. Retired 15 guys until I think that walk there in the 7th. So the two things that excited me was absolutely Drew Nelson. I think secondary mention there is just the job that Carter Wright's doing. I think talking about the defensive blocking, the ball stays in front of him, the catching, the throwing in between innings, and just handling a true freshman. I think that's worth mentioning as well. But I'm excited about this lineup. I think it's kind of put back together from that opening weekend. Bobby going from DH to getting back on the field. Cooper McMurray getting back to first base. Cole Foster in the leadoff spot was exciting. We had Bobby Pierce there earlier in the year. Now having those two there, 1-2, and Kaysen's a great leader, and if he's hitting 7th, I mean, it gets pretty exciting to see how that runs. So, we were locked in to start the game and just kept flipping that lineup there. Maybe a little slower there, 8 and 9, but those guys absolutely reached multiple times and probably had 3 RBIs between them. So I'm excited about that lineup and excited about Drew Nelson in that growth. He's kind of steadied himself, stayed in there, worked back up, and has really helped us the last 2 weeks.
You mentioned Carter being a real leader to leading Drew as just a freshman, but I'm curious, another freshman, Ike, he caught for the first time in his Auburn career on Saturday it was. Do you see him getting some more time behind the plate? Because I know at the end of the game you mentioned he's the catcher of the future. I didn't know if you saw that this season or next.
Yeah, I'm absolutely committed to that. I think that's his future in the game of baseball. I love these at-bats when he DHs and when a ball's not going to tip off his hand or finger. We had the same thing with Stephen Williams a few years ago. He was a freshman All-American, and we had an intention of maybe wait a year because he's swinging it good. Ike's right in the middle of our lineup as a true freshman. He's held up phenomenal. I think he hit a backside home run against Georgia to get his first home run, and we've definitely been more interested in him keeping an approach. And I still think we're like second in America in doubles. We've done that, but seeing that home run and seeing the one tonight, him turn on, we know that's in there. So, yes, I think you kids see him in there. We think the biggest growth on our team to be as good as we possibly can be is with some pitching growth. If we can keep this lineup intact, if we can keep the guys on the field that were on the field tonight healthy and competitive, what are we looking at for 8 weeks, for a 2-month stretch? If we can do that, that's the best product we can put together and create synergy with that lineup. There's a lot of experience, a lot of older players in there that I think can do some things. Where does Ike fit into that? I don't want to be in a development stage of him catching, and it's not what you see. It's not whether he can still have an at-bat or can he catch and throw. Yes, it's handling pitchers, calling a game in the Southeastern Conference, and man, you start looking at a third-year college player like Carter Wright. You start looking at somebody that caught and led a pitching staff to Omaha like Nate LaRue. So we're not going to force it, although you can see it from time to time because we're committed to that development. We're kind of out of spring training now, and we're locked into that deal with what it makes our team the best right now, being mindful of not only Ike, but every player in our program. What's the ultimate development piece? That's our responsibility to that. But, being in the Southeastern Conference, our requirement is to win and to be as successful as we possibly can. And how do we manage that? It's a great question.
But you talked about the lineup back in place, even with the freshmen. That was kind of a take care of business night. How nice was that to see you get ready to go far?
Yeah, it was serious. And always, a guy on the mound does a good job with that too. When you start retiring 5, 10, 15 batters in a row, I continue to see good prep steps when the ball was put in play. Everybody was just taking good preps. They wouldn't having to sit out there for 15 to 20 minutes on defense on their feet. So Drew, it starts there on the mound. It just kept everybody engaged and just a lot of good plays around the field. Maybe nothing out of the realm, but we just dominated routine. And guys were like they were taking good preps, handling the ball when it was hit to them. Serious at bats. I didn't think we gave as many at bats away. This is a team that's trying to get back healthy and get back going. And last week was really important for us. Any way, shape, form, or fashion, the way you look at it, we've won 4 out of 5, and we're about to go play another great opponent. And so we need to be building some momentum and thinking a lot of ourselves at this stage.
How about Bryson Ware adding his 12th home run?
Yeah, I'm glad he's on our team. It's been well documented, like perseverance for any young person. This is what I do. I'm not having the success I want. You take your ball and go home. This young man's got enough charisma, character, belief in himself, belief in our program to not run and hide and to stay the course. And we started from August building up. I'm like, I love you. You keep working so hard. Go get it. Go take something. Go get something. It wound up being, it looks like third base. We've played him a little bit at second recently with some of these injuries and stuff, but he looks comfortable at third base. He looks comfortable in his at-bats. And, there's some guys with some bigger numbers out there, but you got to start talking about this stage of the season that Bryson Ware is having one of the best seasons in America, if not playing as good a baseball as anybody out there.
All right.
Coach, with your SEC record being 2-4 versus a winning record in non-conference, what kind of confidence does getting these good non-conference games bring your team?
Yeah, somebody told me won 16 in a row. They're huge. I think we hosted a regional last year because of being competitive in the midweek. It'd been since 2010. And we tried to figure out and call around. And it's one thing to say, hey, we're going to win them all in the non-conference. It's another thing to how to go about it. We actually have already been to Jacksonville State. We've already been to Huntsville to play this North Alabama team on the road. We'll go back to UAB next Tuesday. The RPI machine, that computer works to where you are credited more points by not only playing on the road but winning on the road. So there is more. You gain more by winning at home than you do winning it. You win more. You get more by winning on the road than you do winning at home. So all of it's important. That's why we're starting to travel the state more, because we know what the RPI favors. But winning's the biggest thing, and that was essential for us to get this Georgia series last weekend, because now we went from 40 to getting in those mid-20s. We're getting back in the game, and that's why this weekend coming forward so huge. We have less return. We have more new guys than we do returners. So this is a second chance for us to go grab something on the road. You don't get an Arkansas series back. You don't get it back. When something happens, you don't get it back, and it's like instead of wallowing or focusing on the problems, you immediately go like, what's the solution? And the solution is the next opportunity. We're going to go face another top 3 or 4 team, and we understand RPI. We are educated enough to know what you get to gain. And so that's why this is a great opportunity. It was come back, win a series, get back in it. This is the best amateur baseball on earth. There's going to be some 2 and 4 stretches. Last year's national champion is 0-6. The national champion from 2 years ago is 0-6. It's not just a conference. It is the best conference baseball in the country and the best amateur baseball. Opening day, here's another thing to go look up. The opening day for Major League Baseball will be this Thursday. I believe there will be over 100 former SEC baseball players on opening day Major League rosters throughout the league. Not only would that be number one, that's pretty significant. It might be 20, 30 more than the second best conference. And there's a lot of great baseball, not just our conference, but it's set apart from that standpoint. So it's a high level of baseball, and being in it over 2 decades, it's only gotten better. It's incredible to me from where we started personally to where it is now, and I didn't see how or think how it could keep getting better and better and better. But if it goes up at the same rate as last year, if it goes up to the tune of another 5 players, and we have 100 former SEC baseball players on opening day major league rosters, it only proves the point of how competitive this league is and the emotions of it, and um, and and how important it is to hang in there sometimes. When you get on a roll, man, you squeeze it for everything that's in it. When it's not going good, at the end of the day, you're kind of rewarded for hanging in there and not rolling over or not getting sad. You're not allowed to be sad till the season's over. That's one of the best strategies to compete in the Southeastern Conference, and it's not just baseball; it's a lot of our sports.
Last one here in the middle.
Coach, is there anything you want the team to do differently or improve on in preparation for you all's next game?
Yeah, just supreme confidence. I want them to feel like this is Auburn University. They have an amazing coaching staff, assistant coaches that's played in World Series. They got a coach that's been a head coach forever. That they have the National Assistant Coach of the Year on their staff. They have real skill and real talent. I think Bobby Pierce is a great baseball player. Where I want them to play with confidence. I want them to respect Florida for what they are. But I absolutely want them to feel dangerous because I don't feel like we should feel inferior to anybody. We've worked hard for 8 years to get to that point. It's time to start living that way. That would be what I'd like to see, a different rhythm from maybe a couple of weeks ago. Because we do. We got 20 guys that's never put this uniform on until now. This is our first year. But we've worked hard to try to build a culture to we should not feel second or inferior to anybody. So I want that supreme confidence, and I want us to go out there and dive and jump around, and when it gets to an advantage count, to have that barrel meet that ball at the front door instead of being hesitant, being unsure, giving the opponent respect but not too much credit to think they don't belong. Well, Auburn Tigers, I absolutely feel like we've done enough on the field in the postseason that we should absolutely attack this series much better than the first with a lot of new players.